and he was directly tied to Texas, and I've seen him within the Texas feds through the metaverse. I have black ops coming in around that. Texas feds apparently are corrupted, okay? And they talk about that on targetedjustice.com alongside of FEMA, okay? So there have been whistleblowers that have come through from the Texas feds that have been cited, okay, on that website. So the plot that I uncovered today is pretty gross, okay? It is really disgusting. And I keep wondering how Donald Trump is still in power. This is the big question for me. Personally, I want to know who's protecting him because I know he's not the commander-in-chief. So this is bothering me and irking the crap out of me. So every day I'm trying to figure out who's keeping him in power, where the money is, etc., etc. And because I am part of whatever this intel universe is, I feel like I have to freaking figure this out and share the information with everyone because it's so gross and so disgusting and so evil. And these people have been essentially brainwashed into believing he is the complete opposite. And they don't know the Wall Street version of Donald Trump, okay? They don't know that version of him. And so the messages I was getting today is, one, I was getting something around cybergenics coming through, that there is some type of a team that is working against us through cybergenics, okay? I was also getting that Bill Barr has been completely corrupted. He was seduced by one of Putin's debutantes, okay? Some kind of a Russian, I guess I'm hearing lingerie model. And she did something with him, okay, pretty gross and gnarly, to seduce him into essentially giving her some type of a rank of sorts, okay, some type of a presidential rank. This cat he has got to go. Bill Barr is a freaking problem, okay? And it's so gross. I'm not even going to say what she did to him, but just imagine what she did to him to get this, okay? I have gotten connections, obviously, directly tied to Wall Street and Hotel Gansevoort, connected to the Kremlin, okay? The Kremlin Ding Dongs, okay? And Wall Street is directly tied to the crypto and the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is all the techie companies, and crypto is directly connected to the DNA. And it's part of the human hacking. And that's why so many people have died in such a short time period, okay? So I was getting strong messages that there is insider trading of every single person that is involved essentially with this group, okay? Because they knew they had this technology, and the technology, it supersedes, okay, time and space. It's connected to Tesla, okay, Nikola Tesla, and not coincidentally, Elon, who has a company named Tesla, okay? And all of that technology goes into, I'm hearing, the kill contracts. And so kill contracts are really what hedge funds are, okay? The hedge funders are connected to kill contracts. Now, I remember specifically being in Tulum and going there to do some special Temescal ceremony, and I happened to be there with a woman from Wall Street. Not coincidental, I'm sure, because my life just seems to be, I don't know, a little strange. And so she was in hedge funds. And so when I asked her about it, she said they're extremely dark and that she is trying to get out. She is basically left her job and she was cleansing herself through this Temescal ceremony, and she was going to become a yoga instructor and move into a whole other arena. Now, I have heard this a lot from hedge fund people. I don't know, throughout maybe my encounters, I don't know, through maybe movies or TV, but they always say you only go in for a couple of years and then you take your money and you get the fuck out, okay? From my understanding, hedge funds are kill contracts, okay, that are put out by very wealthy people, elites, okay? And so these monies go out and the hits go in, okay? And so part of the kill contracts is what crypto essentially became, which is connected to the Treasury Department, U.S. tax bonds. And that's what Donald Trump got our freaking mess of a country in bed with, okay? And he essentially dragged his freaking horrible business dealings and his debts into our National Treasury Department and turned us into a hedge fund. Okay? And so the people managing these contracts, I believe, is Eric Prince. Okay? And I believe that he was put in charge of this, and part of the kill operations, I feel, became part of a military operation conducted by General Mike Flynn, whom he pardoned, okay, from a prison sentence that came in with indictments through the Mueller investigation. And as part of that pardon, that fake pardon, because Donald Trump was not the president, comes a hefty price where you become essentially a hitman, okay? And that is how he runs his operation, because he is a crime boss. And so he essentially infiltrated every part of our country to operate in the same way as a criminal operation, crime boss operation, / Adolf Hitler operation, because that is someone that Donald Trump has openly stated he admired, okay? And part of their Nazi agenda is us, okay? So he created these blacklists through the targeted individual programs, which got completely ramped up, which is directly connected to Lockheed Martin, a weapons contractor, which is directly connected to Dick Cheney and George W. Bush, because they have been doing these operations for a long freaking time, okay? And this is to make sure and maintain that their oil stream, okay, is protected, all right, globally. Now back to Donald Trump's train wreck of Wall Street, okay? So the mess he has gotten our country into essentially is that they're trying to do away with a commander-in-chief and basically act like it is whoever owns enough people. They're trying to move that ownership into a one world order of psychopaths, which is directly being run through the New York Stock Exchange. So the main cats connected to Donald Trump and are heading up the New York Stock Exchange is Kelly Loeffler and her husband, who is the owner of the New York Stock Exchange. Okay? So they are the main corrupt, murderous cats who are running the entire operation right now. Okay? And now this video is for entertainment purposes only, but these messages have been repeating for years, and they're just getting uglier and darker and more evil. And I think now we are going to start to understand why that dipshit is in the fucking White House and he hasn't gotten his freaking clothes thrown out on the fucking lawn, okay? Because that's what was supposed to happen yesterday. And why we're having an issue with, I guess, a break in our command chain, so to speak. And it all goes back to freaking Manhattan, Wall Street, which is directly connected to freaking Crazy Kimmy, North Korea, okay? Which I believe is part of this metaverse and this essential, like, I'm going to call it the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games. They essentially turned the world into the Hunger Games, guys. And I believe that that might connect back to Kendrick Lamar's halftime show about this game, okay? And this is a game that I have been stuck in. I was always number one on the leaderboard for several months, and I had all of these little dictators coming in trying to take me out. They have their own little hit team of gamers, which I believe are connected to the incels. The incels are a gaming community, a kill community. They're contract killers. They're brought in and they are forced to do, I guess, soul contracts, divine marriages. They're supposed to have babies, okay? They have babies with people like me. And there's a whole other baby operation. And this is how they're breaking into sacred portals. And the incels is directly connected to the Tate brothers out of Romania. And Andrew Tate has already been charged with human trafficking crimes. But these trafficking, abuse, torture, kill contracts are coming in through his community of incels, which links back to the abusive, misogynistic MAGA regime. And part of the incels is that the contracts are coming in through the banks, I believe, and they're coming in for foreign dictators. So when a contract comes into an incel, you don't know who the contract is through. It could be a wealthy CEO. It could be an elite globally. You don't know who is funding the incel, but it's a way to get dark monies to the incel to take care of the contract. Now, I have found that there are good incels, okay? They're far and few between, and they're probably undercover cops, okay? I have the moon card reversed on that with the devil card. So those incels could be potentially coming in to save people because they're figuring out what the fuck is going on in these portals. The infiltration into the military portals is directly connected to Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein had many meetings, okay, with Bill Gates. And Bill Gates just met with Donald Trump right before inauguration. So Jeffrey Epstein is directly connected back to Donald Trump and the Manhattan trafficking. Also connected to the Russian oligarchs. Also connected back to the beauty pageants. Okay? And the movie Miss Congeniality lays all of that out for you. Linking it all back to Russia. Manhattan. Okay? So it's this whole operation. The sun's coming out right now. So part of Wall Street is that they created their own new black market for content creators like me through Alphabet Inc. Now, I looked up and researched Alphabet Inc. and all of the board members are from Stanford. I have directly tied back the COVID-19 bioweapon to Stanford, okay? And I have talked about this openly, that it is very similar to LSD, okay? Which was created by our own CIA. And that all ties in to Bill Barr, he's former CIA, okay? It all kind of ties back together, the bioweapon and who carried it out. Donald Trump's Trump Media and Technology Group directly ties back to Wuhan, where supposedly the virus was created. But I was getting a French physicist, okay, tied to this, and a very posh lab, okay, in another country. I was also getting ties to Portugal for a release in a subway system, okay? I was getting completely different messages on my channel, and I was getting all these warnings about it, okay, after that. And Alphabet Inc., okay, I believe, is using content creators on the black market through Russian oligarchs and selling us through, trafficking us through, okay, on the black market, on the stock exchange. And those of us who are part of it are hooked up to this freaking system, okay? They're telling me right now Britney Spears is part of that. A lot of the celebrities I told you were all part of this black market. It's disgusting. It's gross. I was getting references to The Big Short, which is basically when all of the freaking banks, they basically are betting on something. They basically come up with an idea and then they all put in their bets, essentially. It's just a fucking casino, dude. It's just Wall Street is just, it's freaking Vegas. It's Atlantic City. It's the same freaking group, okay? I was getting messages that they had moved all this money that was supposed to go to May, allocated for all of these industries, through a freaking Atlantic City casino freaking to Donnie douchebag. And that's how they secured his presidency. Because it's all about the freaking money. In their minds, our country has already been infiltrated because they're like, there is no chain of command. The generals are freaking owned. They don't care. They don't freaking care. Okay? And so that was what they sought out to do, was to overthrow our country, and turn it into Donald Trump's personal business, okay, which he sucks at, okay? And so we get essentially moved around to the next buyers and owners. So one day it might be Crazy Kimmy is our owners. The next day it might be, you know, I was getting Cash Patel. Okay, links to India could be our owners. The next day it's Vladimir Putin. The next day it is Sergey Lavrov. The next day, the next day, and next day. So we have different owners right now. And this is the thing. If we don't break through the bullshit of this illusion and start taking these assholes out, that's where we will reside, within their Nazi regime of psycho, okay? Their one world order of stupid. But if we can wake up to it and realize they actually don't hold rank in any way, and they're just horrible businessmen, okay? And they're contract killer murderers, then we could fucking get out of this and rise, okay? As a country, as a world, and become better, okay? Better than this trash, okay? We have to get the trash train out. We have to move them out of fucking the country right now. I was getting messages, we have to get all their citizenships removed, okay? That they are no longer welcome here. And the only countries they can go to right now are Saudi Arabia, United Emirates, specifically Dubai, and where was the other one? I don't think they want, Russians don't want them. I don't know if the Russians want them there. But they don't have a lot of choices, okay? They're not going to have a lot of choices, and they're not going to be recognized as Americans. That's for damn sure, because they're freaking killers. And anyone who was invested in this, it's also part of the insider trading, because they knew about this technology and they were banking on it, and they were successfully putting in their bets, so to speak, buying up these stocks, so to speak, knowing exactly what was going on, okay? And so I was also getting the OpenAI is part of this, and they were infiltrated, and they're being funded by Israel. And the Israeli monies are coming in through African banks. And so I want to talk to that. That's freaking, we know what's going on there. That's Sergey Lavrov's land. They just did a deal, okay, the end of last year. And Africa is Team Psycho, okay? That's where they're at right now. That PM is Team Psycho, okay? And so part of that is the lithium, okay, for their smart cities, with the trackers, the human trackers, the Neuralink, okay, which is real, guys, and it's invisible, okay? And Kushner, I believe, is part of the cover-up operations, because they said the cover-up teams are part of the private investment firms. And he has a private investment firm that Saudi Arabia gave him $2 billion for. So I believe he's part of the cover-up operations. And also, I believe he is part of the prison cells, manning the prison cells, okay? Because I was directly getting ties that Jared Kushner put me in a Manhattan prison cell connected to, I was getting Schenectady, okay? New York, all right? So I have my own prison guard, which I've talked about on the channel, okay, openly. I don't remember when, I think it was saying, I said I was being held hostage or something like that. That's when I went put into the prison. I have zero privacy. They watch me go to the bathroom. They watch me shower. They humiliate me. They make sure no man ever loves me. They'll bring in men that don't know anything. They'll have them like me, and then they'll humiliate me in front of them on like almost like a Hunger Games, like Big Brother, kind of like theater through their freaking metaverse. Okay. It comes in and it's like embarrassing me globally. They get their rocks off on this shit, dude. They freaking are trash. They have like brought down the freaking maturity level of our country and the world to like age 10, I want to say. Age 10. And they've been doing this to me for so freaking long, dude. It's disgusting. It's also part of their genocide operations, sex operations, where they're working with Bill Barr on a freaking alien chemical underground to insert into RVs, okay, through the sex operations. So if any man comes to you through here and tries to seduce you, do not let them near your V. Close that up. Close it up. Because they're going to use AI in there to try to make you feel like all yummy and everything. And you know what? It's just a kill operation, guys. Kill contracts. There's a lot of money to kill people. Okay? That's the monies. It's to kill us. And then part of that is also baby operations, which I might go into on another video since this is getting super freaking long. But I was getting messages connected to Vanderbilt Labs on the baby operations. And that's where they take your eggs through these technologies, which they have. So don't think they don't. Okay? They were taking my eggs over a year ago. I've seen them eating and sacrificing, I believe, a baby connected to me. Okay? And not just one. Not just one. They had me pump out. They were trying to see how many babies I had left in me. So, like sacred babies. They are disgusting. Okay? Disgusting. So here it is, the red alert going out of the psychopaths and their freaking Nazi regime and why Donnie Douchebag is in the freaking Oval right now. I don't know why I'm sneezing. Maybe that's just validation. I will leave you guys there. I am sending you so much love and blessings, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.
Well, there was good Trump news from the Oval Office today, if this one thing that Donald Trump said is actually true. When Donald Trump complained about judges blocking his attempts to stop spending and rewrite the Constitution, a reporter asked if he would abide by the judge's rulings, to which Donald Trump, to many people's surprise, said, well, I always abide by the courts, and then I'll have to appeal it. That's the right answer. He gave the right answer, and he didn't stop there. He went on to say, the answer is, I always abide by the courts, always abide by them, and will appeal, but appeals take a long time. And that's the right answer. We can only hope that it is true. But if it is true, some of the talk you've been hearing about constitutional crisis has been premature, which is why I have not yet entertained the discussion of constitutional crisis on this program. If Donald Trump does actually defy a court ruling, then we will cover it then. But as of now, he's actually saying that he will always abide by court rulings. He could have given a more Trumpian answer like, well, we'll see, but he didn't. And that's it for the good news today. A king visited the Oval Office today, a real king, by which I mean a king who actually governs his country, unlike English kings who can't even govern their families. King Abdullah of Jordan had to sit in the Oval Office and listen to the absurdity of Donald Trump saying that he would take Gaza. King Abdullah knows that Donald Trump will not take Gaza. King Abdullah knows that everything Donald Trump said today about Gaza will not happen. Donald Trump will not take Gaza. He will not take Canada. He will not take Greenland, and he will not take Panama. That is the nonsense that Donald Trump throws out there to try to distract the news media from what he really is doing, which includes literally taking food away from starving babies, from starving children, starving grandparents. And the person who is helping him do that stood over Donald Trump in the White House today, thereby delivering a picture of presidential subservience, the likes of which we have never seen, the most powerless image of a president of the United States ever created by a camera. There it is. In that shot, Elon Musk is doing everything he possibly can to tell the world, without saying a word, that Donald Trump is not the boss of me. Donald Trump is the boss of the other adults in that shot, Stephen Miller and Will Scharf, and that's why they are following Donald Trump's lead on the dress code for the Oval Office, which is the same dress code that has existed for every previous president. Elon Musk owns suits and ties. We've seen him wearing them. But today he decided to do the billionaire thing. I met my first billionaire 25 years ago in Hollywood. It was at a fairly small reception in a private home during the Democratic National Convention in Los Angeles. I was wearing a suit and tie, as was every visitor from Washington in the room. The editor of Time magazine was one notch more casual, wearing a blue blazer and gray slacks and a necktie. The show business billionaire was wearing a T-shirt. Everyone knew that he was the richest person in the room, and he knew they knew. And that meant he could wear whatever he wanted. He could dress like he just walked out of a TV writer's room. And so I saw then that the billionaire power move was being underdressed, violating the dress code, and knowing that you can do it because clothes don't make the man, money makes the man. And today Elon Musk decided that he wanted to outdo all of his fellow tech billionaires who frequently show up in T-shirts, and so he violated another norm of business meetings at the White House and business meetings in a lot of places by bringing one of his 11 children. It was like bringing a dog to the home of a person who hates dogs. And we all know how much Donald Trump hates dogs. His favorite line in publicly announcing firings of people that he hired in the first Trump White House was, "I fired him like a dog." I don't know what that means. Dogs don't get fired. It can only mean that he hates dogs. Donald Trump had no trouble remembering the name of Elon Musk's child because it's the shortest name he's ever heard.
Hello, everybody.
Nice meeting you here. Coming often?
X, are you okay? This is X, and he's a great guy, high IQ. He's a high IQ individual.
All right, let's go full screen with these shots because I want to see everything that's in these frames at the White House, okay? The child was there as a power play by Elon Musk, demonstrating he can do whatever he wants in that room. When Donald Trump is your boss, you don't bring your kid into a business meeting with Donald Trump. And when Donald Trump is your boss, you don't talk more than Donald Trump in a business meeting with Donald Trump. Elon Musk spoke 3,666 words. Donald Trump spoke 2,487 words. Mike Pence never had a day like that in the Oval Office with Donald Trump. J.D. Vance will never have a day like that in the Oval Office with Donald Trump because Donald Trump is the boss of J.D. Vance. One thing Donald Trump always craved before he ran for president was the attention of the truly rich, virtually all of whom ignored Donald Trump as phony rich and vulgar rich. And now Donald Trump has the attention of the richest person in the world, the person who can literally bail him out of any financial difficulty, like the $85 million that he owes E. Jean Carroll pending his appeal of her successful lawsuit against him, and the $500 million that he owes the state of New York pending his appeal of the lawsuit New York Attorney General Letitia James won against Donald Trump. And we have no idea how much money may have already passed between Donald Trump and between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. We have no idea how dependent Donald Trump is on Elon Musk. There will probably never be a way of knowing. Elon Musk and Donald Trump proved nothing of what they said in the Oval Office today. Given their demonstrated comfort with public lying, everything they said about government waste in the Oval Office today, which had no specific details and no evidence, should be regarded as untrue unless and until proved true. As soon as they can show us the billions of dollars, what Donald Trump called today a lot of billions, and Elon Musk called a trillion, as soon as they can show us any of that waste, fraud, and abuse and prove it, I will congratulate them for finding that waste, fraud, and abuse. But so far, they have found absolutely nothing because they have produced no evidence of what they claimed they found today. They did not mention a single name of a single recipient of a single wasted dollar by the American government. They both tried to tell scary-sounding stories, corrupt-sounding stories, with Elon Musk referring to an unnamed woman who he claims gained a net worth of $30 million just while working for the federal government. And Elon Musk could not imagine how that could happen on a government salary. Now, let's just presume for a moment that there is such a woman whose net worth actually increased to $30 million while working for the federal government. Elon Musk said, "We're just curious as to where it came from. Where does it come from?" And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. Everything about Elon Musk and Donald Trump's lying today resides in that statement. Elon Musk first asked the question of how could a woman possibly increase her net worth by $30 million while working on a government salary? Ask Melania Trump. Ask any one of Donald Trump's wives how you increase your net worth without earning the money But Detective Musk, on the basis of absolutely nothing, firmly believes that that mythical government worker, who I promise you does not exist and will never be found to exist, is, quote, getting wealthy at the taxpayer's expense. That's the detective solving the crime. And that is the way Detective Musk solves the crime. He just guesses. Watch what happened when Elon Musk began speaking. I'm going to put this on the screen, full screen, not because it matters what Elon Musk was saying, but because it reveals the essence of Donald Trump, and it reveals the power of Elon Musk. When the president speaks in the Oval Office, no one else does, except today. Elon Musk interrupted Donald Trump when Donald Trump was speaking, and Elon Musk's 4-year-old child spoke while Donald Trump was speaking. And nothing could demonstrate the power of Elon Musk more than his child speaking while Donald Trump was speaking. There's something important in what happened when Elon Musk's 4-year-old child actually moved toward Donald Trump. Watch this. Donald Trump did what no president before him would have done with that child. Here it is.
Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So at a high level, if you say what is the goal of Doge, and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, are we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to, if you sorry. So, tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes.
The child actually moves toward Donald Trump, saying something to him. And Donald Trump turns away. And you watch the child back off, knowing what just happened. What would Joe Biden have done? What would Barack Obama have done? What would George W. Bush have done? What would Bill Clinton have done? What would any president you've seen in that chair have done? Donald Trump turns away from the 4-year-old. And then when the 4-year-old continues to speak, Donald Trump reaches out to try to silence him, and he fails. No previous president ever once considered blocking food from being delivered to starving 4-year-olds in a famine, as Donald Trump and Elon Musk have done by stopping the United States Agency for International Development, the most important deliverer of famine relief in Sudan right now, where people are starving to death tonight. Many presidents have struggled with a very well-behaved White House 50-year-old.
Thick mucus making it impossible to breathe? Did you know that mucus buildup and breathing difficulties are your body?
Of the United States Agency for International Development is not an example of competence or caring. Who has the nuclear codes? Think about it. The only answer to that question, the only honest answer to that question tonight, for the first time in history, is we don't know. We don't know who has the nuclear codes. We don't know who has what inside the Trump government. We don't know who is doing what inside the Trump government. But we do know they are doing things that have never been done before and that are illegal. We know that those things are not legal. We know that Donald Trump has given Elon Musk the domestic equivalent of the nuclear codes, the keys to the Treasury of the United States of America. In the biggest, most important data breach in the history of the world, Elon Musk has gone where no political operative has ever gone before. He has gone where no Treasury Secretary has ever gone before. And that is to the innermost sanctum of the United States Treasury, where your money is collected and spent, where your name is collected, where your Social Security number is collected, where your baby's Social Security number is collected on day one of your baby's life. Most people working for the Treasury Department don't even know where that is. No one in politics, which very much includes every Treasury Secretary, because they are appointed by politicians, has ever even shown an interest in trying to get at the actual payment mechanisms operated by the United States Treasury. And of all the horrendous things that have happened in the Trump regime just in the last weekend, nothing is potentially more dangerous than that. Nothing is more corrupt than that. Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary is now the first Treasury Secretary in history who should be impeached. Impeached for handing those keys to the Treasury to Elon Musk. It would be like having the richest customer of a bank telling the bank president, hey, I want to see everyone else's accounts at the bank. And the bank president just opens the books to let the richest customer of the bank see and do whatever he wants. And to extend this example a bit, imagine that the richest customer of that bank actually hates that bank and is fully loyal to another bank. And that bank is in China, and his business and wealth is completely dependent on the good graces of the government of China. What are the chances that Elon Musk would let his friends in the Chinese government know a little bit more or a lot more about the inner workings of the United States Treasury? Does anyone think there is a zero chance of that happening? A zero chance? Does anyone think that Elon Musk, the most erratic public figure in the world, not named Donald Trump, can actually be trusted with anything? We have no idea what Elon Musk and the very young men with him are doing inside the Treasury of the United States. No one knows. Donald Trump doesn't even know. The one thing we do know is there's nothing good that they can do inside the Treasury of the United States. And the other thing we know is that nothing like this has ever happened before in the history of the United States of America. On Friday, the career Treasury official who has served under every Republican and every Democratic president of the last 30 years, David Lebrick, resigned from the Treasury after Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent pushed him out of his position and handed the keys to the Treasury to Elon Musk. And for that, the Treasury Secretary should be impeached. Won't be, of course, but should. Republicans would never conduct an impeachment against anyone in Trump world. Donald Trump is deliberately creating so many distractions that it's hard for people to know which ones are serious. And every word Donald Trump says about Greenland, I think, is not serious and can be ignored. And we know, as I always suspected, every word Donald Trump says about tariffs is not serious and can be ignored because at the last minute, as he did today, Donald Trump will back down, as he did back down today, from his threat of tariffs, especially when the stock market crashes for a couple of hours because of those threats. The news media finally decided to pay attention to tariffs. Just this weekend. 60 Minutes actually instructed its viewers last night that it is not foreign countries who pay Trump tariffs. It is the audience of 60 Minutes in the United States, Americans, who pay Trump tariffs. It would have been a nice thing for 60 Minutes to tell its viewers something like that during the presidential campaign. But they finally got around to it last night because 60 Minutes fell for Donald Trump's phony threats about imposing insanely high tariffs, which are also illegal on Canada and Mexico. Tariffs, like taxes, are set in law by Congress, not the president. In fact, NAFTA, which Donald Trump criticized so intently, is simply a law that adjusted the tariffs, mostly lowering them, that the United States imposed on goods coming into the country from Mexico. Donald Trump claimed to hate NAFTA, and so in his first term as president, he updated it, which is a perfectly normal thing for the government to do with trade agreements like that. Every decade or so, they should be updated. And Donald Trump's update of NAFTA was passed through Congress, and that's how it became the new law governing all international trade between Canada, the